A couple of things real fast that I have to say. I gotta wait till Kira gets back.
I am back.
Okay. Next thing to keep in mind. There should be no unnecessary noises. Therefore, if I hear potato chip crunching, I am going to send you to the gulag.
That one's a little more fair.
What dare you?
It's gonna be like that scene from the Ninja Turtles movie with the Butterfinger. Like,
Yes, I hear that. Alex.
That wasn't Alex. That was probably
It was John.
Alex,
John.
that was Alex. Don't gulag me.
Alex finished his chips for the record.
My
and he
chips
cr-
are gone. I have no chips.
He does not.
The chips are down.
I was gonna say that if you didn't. We're officially going live. I am going to watch comments while we're going. Anything you guys need to say before we start?
Fuck.
Yeah, get it out now. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to our podcast-style art discussion. I have with me my best friend, my compatriot, the usual
Are you talking about me?
Better say the husband.
TasteyTac.
Better say the husband.
Yeah! The TasteyTac is here.
And I have my husband as
I
per
love you
usual.
too.
Hold
You're
on.
Patriot.
John, what did I say about don't speak out of turn?
I'm sorry, but I'm upset now.
So yeah, I have my compatriot, TasteyTac, with me as usual, and my husband, These Nerds Play.
Who's your actual real life compatriot?
Will you stop? You're my companion, Doctor.
Okay, you're forgiven.
And then we have his best friends, and my friend too. We have, as usual, KittyDaddy.
Hi.
And then we have his wife, who wanted to join us. She is our secret guest today, Cyndimonbear. Also known as Cinnamon from here on out. Cinnamon is spicy, by the way.
Yes, very.
Spice.
So, as usual, the rundown is we show our art process, basically. And as we watch the art process of said person, they describe their thought process while drawing. In between, people can say things, whatever they want. Whatever you do, and including chat on Twitch right now, you are not allowed to say anything negative about anyone's drawings. We all come in at different levels. Some of us are challenged in different ways. First things first, the first person to submit was my husband. Do you have any thoughts that you want to say first about your art piece?
Just that, like, I think it was, like, a little bit after we did the video last time, the bug bit me for some reason. I'm like, hey, I have to draw this right away. And I was really starting to get used to Krita, which is surprisingly fun to learn how to use. I'm debating whether or not to switch over to Coral, but I'm going to stick with Krita for now, try to get to know that a little bit better.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, should be good.
All right. So I see you already did your background.
Yeah, I started with the background before I started recording just because I'm like, hey, I wanted to do something basic for that. So just the thought process, the prompt was something Halloween-y. So immediately I think pumpkins or, you know, just candy in general. But, you know, a pumpkin would be easier to draw than all the little bits of candy. So just, I guess, trying to do a rough sketch in my mind. And I do alter this several times throughout. So unfortunately, while I was doing this, I wasn't listening to anything like the spooky, scary skeleton song or anything like that. It was just my usual go-to mix for just, you know, being productive.
Hamilton.
No.
Aw.
Hard rock, heavy metal type of stuff. Although Hamilton would have been nice. But yeah, so immediately when I think October, Halloween time, I think pumpkins. And so with that, something cute that I thought was a cat, you know. I think initially I had planned to do a black cat to stick with the whole theme. But I changed it to like an orangish cat towards the end, just because I thought it looked cuter, at least, you know, to me. But yeah, it was just really quick. About an hour drawing to get this guy going, and had a lot of fun doing it.
definitely looks like you had a lot of fun. I know that we're just getting back up to about where we got cut off. A
Oh
little
no, we're
further,
past
perhaps.
it already.
We're past
Okay.
it, yeah.
I-
Oh, that's your famous 7-second lag.
Delay.
It's great.
Yep. Oh, it's fantastic over here. But it's something where it definitely shows that you put extra effort into it compared to the 10-minute drawing that you did last time. And even though that was
super cute.
he was super cute. He was freaking adorable.
Yeah, your little octopus was awesome.
I
But-
love the fact that in this one he's playing around with different brushes, but it is because he has a different program compared to what he was doing in the last few prompts.
And I definitely
Previously.
prefer this
Yeah.
program over the other one, honestly.
I think
and
you...
then-
Oh, go ahead.
And then I do try to get shading too, like on the pumpkin there. I use the paintbrush stuff because I realize this program actually does go off of how hard you're pushing the pen down. So I did try to do some minor shading. Now I'm not, of course, as far along as Tasty or Ghosts as far as that goes, or freaking Monbear who decided to show everybody up. But,
Oh boy.
Ah,
but yeah, I do need to actually have Ghost show me how to do correct shading, but I felt for just something basic it wasn't too bad.
As far as shading goes, it'll kind of come down to what type of shading you're looking at. Like a big difference between me and Ghost is Ghost usually likes to do a lot of blended colors, a lot of really soft shading, whereas I'm like super hard lines on that shell shading that's going on there. Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Not that
just
I-
based and based off of the pumpkin there, I do a little bit of both, for sure. I do end up messing with a bunch of the brushes and stuff right at the end, as you can, as you'll see
Kind of see.
here. Once I mess with the background, and I try to blend the sky a little bit and add a little more of an effect kind of thing too, which
Oh, sure.
just learning new programs, and it's really really solid program. I really enjoyed it.
And I'd say for backgrounds, for things that you're really not trying to get people to focus on the background, that's a great place to play with brushes and test new things and things like that. I'll even do a little bit of that in mine when I get to that point.
Yeah,
I-
I feel this last one actually I nailed it pretty well compared to the first few.
Yeah, no, so far for what he's looking at right now, I adore him, and I'm going to say this with the utmost love because his ears look like little Eevee ears.
nah,
They do,
do.
and it's like in a good
It's
way
the-
though.
Yes.
Like they're kind of pulled back and cute, and I
Yep,
like it.
yep. Super alert, trying to see what's going on outside the pumpkin.
But yeah, the hat there is actually where I'm like really starting to experiment with the brushes and blending, and that's what I've noticed about Krita is it doesn't just like automatically roll over the actual color that's there. It kind of blends it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on the brush you're using.
Yeah, and whichever brush I was using, it ended up working out really well for me in the end.
I like how
Like
you
the
do
little-
everything just like zoomed out pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to mine, well, you'll see like just giant little bits because I'm blind.
Looking at individual pixels to color.
Yes, pretty much that's how it went.
I love the little extra curl on his tail.
I like the fact that he went in and tried to texture the fur.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
the fur texture. It's cool.
And it was crazy because it was a bunch of let me get a part of my screen. It was literally just a bunch of this.
Oh, wow.
We can tell.
Software.
Oh, now he's nice and zoomed in.
See, you
Well,
spoke too
right After you
soon.
guys said something, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get those little claws in, like
I-
KittyDaddy got on
I
the
will
first-
say
Yes.
that my favorite part is the brushes that you used for the background. I like this the best, I think.
Trying to figure out what to go with it and the touch-ups and things that you could do with it.
Yeah. I like the fact that he used a bunch of different brushes to get
Things.
some kind of effect going.
And then I tried a couple blend tools and a couple other things too, which is where I'm like, maybe I should try Coral Painter. But I do know, just looking at that, the type of stuff you can do on that, it's definitely going to be a lot more CPU intensive for sure.
Yes.
It looks like it's snowing. Which, that's an October thing, I guess.
Well, it's a northern October thing.
Yeah, it depends on where you live.
Right?
Could be.
My absolute
I don't know. It
favorite...
looks more like maybe
ahead.
magic dust.
Sure.
Yes.
My absolute favorite thing about your drawing is your jack-o'-lantern. I think it turned out awesome.
It turned out amazing. I like it a lot.
This is Frank, the wizard kitty.
The wizard kitty.
Yes.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Anything you need to say before we start?
No.
No?
No.
Okay,
I
go.
love his so much. It's amazing. Well, and he had mentioned this idea like several weeks before we even got to this prompt. He had been thinking about it.
So,
Nice.
also fun story. As, the person here who grew up with him, he used to love drawing tonberries. And I could never figure it out.
They're the best character in the Final Fantasy universe.
They're both
Cough,
cute.
cough, cactars.
Cactars.
They're cute
Cactar!
and terrifying.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And then Kira's like, cactars.
Chocobos, but that's just me.
They're not
Chocobos are
terrifying.
friendly.
Cute, too.
Those are friendly.
The only time that chocobos have ever been terrifying to me was Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, those ones will get you.
They're jerks.
Oh, you
They're
got-
definitely
You
jerks.
don't even know.
Yeah, you don't know.
the-
You haven't seen the full extent of the
Yeah.
chocobo pain yet.
The other chocobos are rough.
And for
Yeah.
those out there who don't know what she's talking about yet either, you should check out her YouTube to see us attempt to fight chocobos, hopefully sometime in the future. I don't know when you plan on getting those first
Quite a
videos out
while.
for that.
Well, it's hard to get everyone together. It's hard enough just to get these videos together.
Insert
True.
shameless plug here.
Yeah! I mean, not shameless. I mean, I'm advertising for her for free. You should pay me.
We've already discussed this.
But, anyways, I think we should get back to KittyDaddy's drawing, which is already looking freaking cute.
So yeah, I was kind of going back and forth. Like, I wanted him to be carrying like a jack-o'-lantern as a lantern because the Tonberries carry around lanterns. But I'm like, no, I want him to be carving a jack-o'-lantern. So he's just gonna have like a little
Pumpkin bucket.
pumpkin candy bucket. Absolutely.
So cute.
At one point, this knife has a cute little, like, point at the end, and I'm like, oh, I like it, and then you erased it, and I was like, no! Like that. I like that. That shape is awesome, and then you got rid of it.
Aww.
It's a very specific
Cleaver that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
Yeah.
trying to stay true to the original source content.
right. It has to. It
I
has
mean,
to
fair.
be that.
Definitely.
And then I was like, no, it doesn't look like he's holding it. It looks like it's sitting on his hand, so we got to move it closer here.
Yep.
And then this one, I was actually really happy with how it turned out, the actual pumpkin that he was carving.
I liked the end product of this jack-o'-lantern. It looked really good.
Yeah, so I went over in my head a couple of ways to do it, and I'm like, well, I don't want him to just carve a pumpkin face in, because he's got a regular pumpkin face on his bag. So, I was trying to, I was debating if I wanted to texture the pumpkin, and I ended up deciding against it. And I'm not sure if I even keep that. Maybe I do keep those lines on it. But, so it's like, oh, I'll have him carve something Final Fantasy-y, and then my other favorite monster in the Final Fantasy universe is the Cactor. So I was like, that's really easy. Let's go for it.
But without knowing it's a cactor, it looks fairly weird looking. No, kidding.
Well, I mean, you gotta start somewhere, right?
Fair.
There we go.
So yeah, I was literally trying to pull the pieces out of the jack-o'-lantern and putting them on the ground nearby so that it would look like they were cut out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
I just
actually a
realized
really
something
clever
that's-
trick.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's a really clever trick.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's figured out the Krita thing.
Can
In
you
a
get
lot
the
of
big
ways.
brain?
Yes.
Yeah,
His
this is what we call a
1000
classic.
IQ big brain skill.
Yeah. Classic big brain move.
I'm sorry I had to jump it so far ahead, but I had to jump it because it was particularly long, so this is more what the finished almost looks like.
I mean, that's fine. I didn't even notice a jump.
I did a little bit, but went bad.
And then we had to jump over to him. He's getting colored.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, you're like half a second ahead of us when you talk versus the stream, which is interesting.
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be that lag when you're streaming on Twitch and then seeing it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, basically at this point, I went pretty simple, just with that outline, just coloring it in or whatever.
He's so green. You
Yeah.
picked like the perfect shade of green.
Right. I actually haven't played many Final Fantasy games with Tonberry in it, unfortunately. So that's kind of a bummer. I know he's in 15. What?
They should be in almost every single one.
I know he's in 7 and 8.
I remember seeing you play against him in 8 for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta kill a bunch of Tonberries to get the Tonberry summon.
Hmm.
Not fun in 15 either.
Yeah, I heard there's a Star Wars Jedi Tonberry in 15.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate actually.
Oh my gosh.
Skip around like Yoda. It's great.
Hey guys.
Wow.
I think Alex is trying to tell us he's gonna get into business and make kitty cats.
Yes.
I love this. I didn't notice that at first. He showed me that later, and I love it so much because you can't see it from
You
far
literally
away.
cannot tell.
No.
But the fact that you know it's there is amazing.
Well, now I'm gonna feel jealous when we get to my pumpkin and the little bits of candy. That is
Generic
absolutely
names.
awesome.
No, she just has I don't know what
Candy,
you call
generic.
them. Yeah, it's just generic candy.
TasteyTacs.
Yes.
Ah, that would have been good. Tasty
Yes.
Tacs.
That would be also kind of Halloweeny because you don't want to eat tax.
No. Ah, what a shame. I missed out.
I liked how you did the gradient for the background, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty simple, but I like how it turned out, so.
Mm.
I ended up taking a chunk out of my grass that I had to add back later, though.
Oh. That always sucks when that happens.
I'm waiting for your signature stars in the background.
I was thinking about it. I wish I had,
Oh, you put your
like,
stars
tried to
in.
use the blend tool to kind of blend it in a little bit.
Oh, that wasn't the blend tool? I was wondering why
No,
it was...
that's individuals.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just using paintbrush and doing lines.
I kind of like
blend
the way
would have
it
done
looks
better.
though too.
Oh, there's his glow tool.
Yep. Well, yeah, you gotta make the jack-o'-lantern glow, man.
I absolutely love the fact that you have the flame in there too. Like, it's one of my
Yes.
favorite details that you added. It's amazing.
Ta-da!
There's the stars.
Ooh, that's adorable.
All
So
those planets
spooky.
magically align.
It's very cute.
Oh, yeah,
I
then
love
you gotta
it.
make him twinkle. But yeah, I
Yeah.
went back through and touched it up a little bit later, but I was very happy with how it turned out.
It was just very nice.
Very nice.
Anything you want to
Yeah,
say?
Cindy. Wanna
Sandy?
show everybody else?
Well, I wasn't sure if I was even gonna use this or not because I wasn't sure. I ended up using my laptop with the touch screen. So.
Oh, we need to do proper introductions, though. We know that you're the soulmate of the KittyDaddy, but introduce yourself a little bit, just a tiny bit. You don't have to do. You don't have to be very specific.
What's your favorite color?
Gosh, put me on the spot.
You're brand new to the series. What made you want to come?
Mostly the kitty bugging me and wanting me to do it. He may have had some influence in that decision.
Uh-huh.
But part of I didn't do it before because I have a really hard time with just like the mouse trying to make it work. So I was able to do it with my laptop and the touchscreen on my laptop, and it worked out way better.
Yeah.
We're gonna start.
Okay.
I'm so excited to see where this goes. We've already got raving reviews from KittyDaddy, so I can't wait to see it myself.
You will not be disappointed.
It's just
and-
cute.
Yeah, and part of it was I sketched it out beforehand, which is why it's here, because I wasn't sure if it would even work with my computer, which is why I was so far into it before we actually started recording anything. So, and it's a lot of me just, like I said, zooming in on everything to try and get it where I wanted it. Because I had a pretty decent idea of what I wanted to do. I got a little bit of inspiration from a couple like reference photos, but it's pretty much just all like freehand and just kind of got the generic idea from other pictures and ideas of how I wanted it to look.
I have a question about your drawing.
What?
What does the fox say?
Moving on.
Ding, 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 ding.
But he wants candy.
He wants
It's
candy.
That's
I mean, that's a great thing for him to say.
This is forever on the internet. This is forever on the internet. Don't say anything really mean. Don't say anything really mean.
Yes, just hush, John.
It wasn't for you. It was for your husband.
Oh, that's more acceptable then.
Okay.
It was also kind of nice because Kitty seems to have figured out Krita pretty well, so he helped me a little bit with trying to figure out how to do some things. Because there were parts where that I was making it way harder than it needed to be, for sure.
Well, yeah, and I don't think you've ever used a program that had layers or anything, right?
No, I think I've messed around with it like a tiny bit, but not to that extent.
Sorry, I'm just.
I know.
Right when he said layers, I'm like ogre programs.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
exactly.
Yep. No, as far as like not doing too much digitally yet, it's something where you've already got a great base going. As far as how everything else goes, I'm sure it's already going to look great.
I think if anything, it just took her more time than she would have liked it to, just because she was trying to get used to everything.
It took a long time. This was like 4+ hours of me working on this.
And that's just
Oh,
because
wow.
you're getting used to everything.
Yeah, because I had to get
Yeah.
used to it, and then it started going faster towards the end once I had figured it out. But yeah, it was a good 4+ hours of me working on this, which probably should have only taken me maybe 2.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Now we have 3 of you that take 4 hours.
Well, next time, if I do this again, it'll go much, much faster, because I have
We're
an
gonna,
idea.
we're gonna be that perfect in between. Then I'm gonna be at the 30-minute mark. KittyDaddy will be at the hour to 2-hour mark. You'll be at 2 to 3. The other 2 will be at 4+.
Yeah, that's probably how that's gonna go.
Probably.
I also wanted to go kind of simple, just because I hadn't messed around with this much before, and I didn't want to try and go too complicated the first time.
This was
So.
simple. It turned out amazing.
Well, there's a difference between simple and good.
Well, and I just didn't want, I didn't mess around like a ton with different textures and things either.
Sure.
So it was like a lot more, and there was a lot of that because my pen kind of. There was
So specifically what Cinnamon's trying to say, sorry, I can't speak. So we have another friend who also wanted to be part of the series, but he could not be part of the series because his stylus is an XP pen that also does the same thing that hers does, which is it over detects or something, or it's overly sensitive with pressure or something, and it'll just do little bits of lines. And we've tried to, what's the word? troubleshoot it. Yeah, and we can't get it to work. Hers does the same thing, but it's not near as bad as our other friends.
Well, and that's part of why I had to, like, zoom in so far, too, is so that it wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because what was happening is it was touching too much at once. And so it was just, like, trying to go all over.
All the way across.
Yeah. More so than it needed to.
Cindy wants to make sure she gets every single line.
I gave her a hard time because she was coloring it with such fine lines. I'm like,
I kind of like it because it looks like it's got a texture to it, like a spray paint
texture
or something.
But she does eventually get rid of that texture feel to it, though.
Aww.
Right?
A little bit, yeah. It's definitely a lot smoother later. But part of it was, too, is, like I said, I was using the pen, so I didn't want to try and do a ton of it, like, close up. So I was trying to do as much of it as I could without it being too big and just being messy and
obnoxious.
Being harder. Yeah. So it was kind of my in-between.
Well, I think at this point, too, you were still painting on the same layer as your outline.
I might have been.
So you're trying to be really careful not to erase your stuff.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd used one like this as much.
Right.
So there was a lot of me doing silly rookie mistakes like that.
Fair.
So,
everyone makes rookie mistakes.
right. So, I mean, it was a lot of me messing around and trying to figure out what was actually going to work between the stylus and just the different tools and everything else, and trying to find that balance that would make it work properly.
We've all got to upgrade from MS Paint eventually.
MS Paint.
And there was a lot of me messing around with, like, different colors and stuff too, and trying to figure out
which ones you liked.
Yeah, and how to go about it, and trying to get them to blend the way I wanted them to. But, so there was a lot of me, like, going over things multiple times, because I'm like, that's too light, that's too dark, and then getting done and basically having to recolor a lot of it. So.
The Goldilocks approach.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not just
there was
right.
a lot of that. So, because I changed the color at the end of this, because I think I felt like it was too, like, peachy, and it wasn't really what I was going for.
Fair. I mean, this is coming from the person who will delete an entire thing because it didn't look quite right.
Oh, I do
so
the same
that's
thing
fair.
for sure. It looks like she got to a different layer.
This is when
no,
I
it's
just
not.
showed
Yeah,
her.
this is when Alex got involved.
He's like,
this is
try
where
like
things
this.
speed up a little bit, and we make some progress.
I'm like, you should use a bigger brush and use, like, a different layer. That'd probably be good.
Look at her go. She's like, aha! You can see the pride in her brushstrokes now if I figured out a thing.
That is cute. I love the hat. It gives it a little bit
You fools, this isn't even my final form.
Yeah.
It is definitely cute.
Is adorable.
I told you,
I
showing
like-
us all up.
I like the little brown socks you gave the fox. And the little shading in the ears where it would have the little tufts of fur.
The eyes get me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely needed the hat. I wish I had more time, like, on the little pumpkin basket and added a little more shading and stuff to that, too. But overall, I think it turned out pretty cute.
It is
definitely did.
adorable.
All right, I am not happy with mine, guys, so I apologize. I promise I won't be overly negative about my piece because I don't need to be.
You
But
also said no negativity in here.
right?
Yep.
More rules.
Something to say, I did this on Twitch, I think yesterday or the day before. You're not really going to notice it in this sped up version, but I do have moments where I stop and I'm talking to, in this case, Tasty. Because
Aww.
she was one of the only people in the chat at the time that was commenting.
And harassing her.
A little bit of harassment, indeed.
Just a little bit.
It's not a Twitch stream without the harassment.
Yeah.
No. We're not encouraging that shit.
I mean the positive stuff.
The
that I'm
gentle
sure-
teasing.
Yes. In a good way, obviously.
So I'm starting off with the body frame, and I wanted to, originally, I didn't know if I wanted to do fan art or not. I asked the comments if I should do fan art or if I should do something I wanted to do. Tasty said do fan art, so I started drawing Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. Originally, it was going to be how I normally draw, people, so I've got a really defined hourglass figure for him and stuff like that. But then I was like, I really shouldn't. Later on, I'm like, I really shouldn't do that, even though I like drawing it in this way. It is supposed to be fan art, so it needs to be recognizable. So it completely changes.
Recall me saying that you were to draw fan art, because you were already partway into the drawing when I popped into Twitch.
Oh, I said fan art or not, and you said fan art.
100%. I don't recall.
Unless it was these nerds.
I think it was these nerds.
It was nerds.
Nerds. We're gonna call you Snurds now. I'm just kidding.
He Snurdles.
Okay, we got Cinnamon and Snurds.
I like it.
We need more food names, guys.
I'm already a Tasty. What else can I be?
This is true.
Kitty Kibble.
Yes.
I guess I don't really have much to say other than I couldn't really get proportions right. It was hard to focus on the drawing itself while I was also trying to do commentary while drawing. So I might not live stream drawings in the future unless it's something that I'm not super interested in doing in the first place.
Something that's more casual.
I would 100%, I want to draw my anime characters, basically. And this was supposed to be kind of Tim Burton, kind of Disney feel, and I didn't like it one bit. But I was like, no, I have to finish this somehow, or, get something done. So I just stuck it out, and I get something eventually, but I don't feel particularly good about it, and I don't feel like it was super original.
I mean, that happens with fan art. Sometimes it's just something where you start doing a character who is really overplayed, not the right word I'm looking for, but they're very well known, they're very commonly done, and then it can feel offset a little, unfortunately. But for what you did get done, for what it does end up looking like, since I have that little bit of sneak peek on my belt, it does look quite nice.
I think it's passable. And I think I said that in the stream, too. I feel like it's a passable thing, but it's not something I'm happy with.
Fair enough. I mean, I had the same moment with the very first drawing we did for the drawing series.
Also, this was the first time that I realized, I knew as a child, but it didn't really, come to the forefront of my brain until I started drawing him. But he's basically wearing a bat. A real huge bat.
For a bow tie.
Yeah, well, not just that. His shoulders is the wings, and his tailcoat is like a tail for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever noticed that so much before.
Right? It wasn't until I started drawing him that I was like, oh, this was...
Wait a minute.
It makes sense when you actually look at it. I liked the way that the eraser ended up giving me kind of... It wasn't super spindly. I kept saying it was spindly, but it's got this nice effect when it erases at certain angles. So it makes it not creepy, but kind of Tim Burton-esque, I guess. And then I decided I wanted to change his expression because I like edgy characters.
And there he goes. No more eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, he's got eyeballs.
Ah, yes, ye olde angry eyebrows.
Yes.
I will steal Christmas at last.
It's either that or I'm turning this pumpkin into the Hobgoblin's newest plaything.
What's this?
What's this? What's this?
Oh no! Boom.
I absolutely love it.
I love his face. The only thing about this I love is his expression.
I think he did an amazing job. It looks really good.
He looks like he's thinking up something absolutely devious, which is perfect.
Right.
I mean, that's what he does.
Yes.
His job.
And originally, when I first started drawing this, and last week, I said I was going to do a black and white, something, because I wanted to do black and white so bad. but I totally got thrown off my game, and I was like,
Started
no,
adding color.
Yeah, it's gotta have color. So I messed up everything.
And the shading makes him look even more devious, I'm noticing.
Yes.
Like he's holding a flashlight that's looking up at him like, Mwah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna come back and do some dramatic lighting and fix his hands later, but I didn't have time for it, and like I just didn't feel good about it in general anyway. So I'm just like, nah, I'm just gonna leave it.
If I remember right, it was like a 3-hour stream? It wasn't a full 4
No,
hours.
it was 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is probably one of the fastest drawings I've ever done. So that's also part of the reason why it doesn't have like a finished or like solid feel to it, is because of how fast it was.
No, it looks like you were talking to Tasty just now.
Yep. Yeah, no, because I think we were arguing about
the fingers.
Because at first you were like, I need to draw his thumb. And I was like, that's not supposed to be a thumb.
Originally I did draw a pinky, and then I was like, no, for some reason I got my left and right mixed up. I was like, it needs to be a thumb.
And then we corrected it.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I have to do a proper fan art, so I have to fix his legs. And then Tasty's like, you need to make his legs even longer. And I was like, okay, fine.
Make them longer. Make them thinner. Give him more toesies.
More toesies, huh?
Yes.
Do you even see his feet in the movie? Like,
not really.
They're tiny little things.
Yeah. And then this is like the background sped up a lot, by the way.
And this is where she realizes, oh no, I was going to do this in black and white. Oh no.
Too late. There's color, and I like the color.
Yep. Color. It's a siren of deviousness.
I love it.
It looks great.
It looks amazing.
It's almost,
especially for an hour and a half, it looks really good.
I love it.
it's almost too bad how big the background is, because
he gets so tiny.
He looks fantastic.
Yeah, and he's much smaller. But the background is also really cool at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, like,
yeah.
man.
Is that a hint of glow tool that I see?
Of course. The glow tool is life. So yeah, I had in some ways more fun doing the background, especially this. I liked the way the sponge brush did this. It just looks so nice.
Made it puffy.
It's really, really cool.
It almost makes it look slightly cloudy.
Right?
Like the movie's kind of
I love it.
Yeah, so it looks like all of us experimented to some degree with the different brushes and stuff. And I think it's really cool when we see somebody experiment with all the brushes and stuff like that.
Yep. It's something where it's always nice to see experimentation amongst other, because it encourages you to experiment too, because you can get a lot of really fun things out of trying things that you don't usually do.
Mm-hmm.
For mine, I kind of backpedaled. I did a couple of different things before I decided to go with this one, which is what took me so long to make it this week. At first, I wanted to do a zombie, and then like a pastel goth inspired, like spooky ghost person, and then I eventually came down to this plan. So it took me a while to get there. And while I'm working on it, at one point I decide, partway through, I go, screw it, and I do trace some. So shame on me. Tracing is bad, Kira. But I did it anyways, and I think it looks actually pretty cool by the time I'm done with it.
So a third of your video had to be cut because the first 2 parts of your video were extremely long. So your video, even though a third of it got cut, is still going to go by super fast, I believe. Your background is just going to randomly show up.
Fair enough. So here's what you can see my first attempt at drawing what's supposed to be the focus of the drawing. As you can see, it's supposed to be a big creepy spider. And my intent was to have it lurking behind a pumpkin, either like a pumpkin bowl or a jack-o'-lantern filled with candy. I just kind of simplified it at the end. But I liked how the spider looked, but I also hated how it looked, which is why I ended up just ripping a picture of a tarantula from Google somewhere that I thought had a very similar posing that would work. I also fiddled with the idea of drawing like a skeleton on the back of the spider to make it more spooky, but I ended up getting rid of that idea partway through.
Seems very Aunt Fanny inspired.
spiders have big tushies. I'm sorry.
That is true.
Oh, here's another thing I was doing. I was trying to fiddle with the pumpkin, and I was having issues as far as, like, making sure I was keeping the timing down, which apparently I didn't very well. Haha. So I ended up doing a lot of copy, paste, and flipping on a lot of these things, just so that I could get the same shape repeated without having to do a lot of extra work. You'll also get to see my very, very clever, very beautiful no-nosed pumpkins that I love to do.
Not all pumpkins need noses.
No noses for this
Yeah.
pumpkins. It's cute, no nose.
It works without the nose,
Uh-huh.
but most people
Yes.
put noses.
Her lines are so delicate.
And I intentionally made them off-centered, so it was like they were just stabbing into it and carving it wherever they happened to have their spacing. And I will admit, I kind of come back through later, and I fiddle with the pumpkin a lot, as far as, like, retouching up the coloring and how I want the line sitting and how thick I want the background. I fiddle with it a lot, just because I didn't get it quite the way I wanted it, and I just kind of struggled with it for a while.
I like this spiderweb detail. It looks very good.
Yep. It was one of those ones where I had wanted to do the spiderweb detail, and then I thought about doing a second one elsewhere on the pumpkin, and then I disliked it, and then I decided I did like it. So I fiddled with this one quite a bit as far as, like, making different details. Here you can see I used a similar trick to Alex, where I drew something off the main area where it was supposed to be, and dragged and dropped it into the location I wanted it.
I really like your candy.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
cute.
it's just generic candies, and I do another lollipop in there. Here I try and go back so that I can work on the spider and try and make it look better and more spidery, and then I'm like, screw it, steal a spider. And I found that spider that you can kind of see faintly in the background. And so I went back and I just kind of traced over it to get the different shapes of it, just so that I can have a spider-like shape that looked quite nice. I did alter it a little bit where some of the legs don't sit quite where they were. I make the tushy bigger. I adjust it so that the legs sit a little bit more to what I wanted it to, just for the back half. And I will also do the copy and flip cheat on this guy here in a little bit, too. Making sure I get all of his spider toesies in. See, I had also debated putting little claws on his toes, since most tarantulas do, but I decided just to leave it off because I'd already been fiddling with it.
Not gonna lie, having legs inside of legs for a minute there was kind of terrifying. They don't need more legs.
At one point, I think I'm playing with it, just adjusting how it's standing, giving a little bit of a push and pull, and I accidentally twist it on itself, and then I had nothing but legs, and the spider body had disappeared, and it was absolutely terrifying, but it gave me a good laugh. I don't know if that stayed in here or not, so we'll see.
I can't remember.
Yep. See, and now I'm giving the spider a little bit of detail so that he looks a little more interesting. Since I decided I didn't like the skull, I gave him some stripies, and I decided to kind of get the idea to base him off of there's actually a pumpkin tarantula that has a slightly orange hue to him. So I go ahead and I go that route later down the road when I get to coloring. And you can see I'm going through, similar to what Cindy was having issues with. I was like, nope, that color's not quite right. Nope, that color's not quite right. And I have to redo their mouths a couple of times. And since I had colored everything on the same layer, I did try and just autofill that color into the new correct color. And it filled up way too much. I get the spiders colored in. I get the candies colored in. It sounds like... not tasty. I'm tasty. Sounds like
Are you?
Ghostsuru did cut a lot of this once I'm done coloring the pumpkin, but I do later come back in with some various like textured brushes. I find my burn and dodge tool to make the candies look a little more shiny.
I love the little spiders.
Yep. And they're supposed to be like your initial hint that something's not quite right. And I did initially want to make the background very, very dark, and the spider, the bigger one, very, very hard to see. But it didn't quite turn out that way at the end. It's something where I was a little bit too proud of my traced spider, where I didn't want to change it. See. I'm coming in now with a white tool to kind of redo my spider web, just so that it pops a little bit more, because I knew that I wanted to do a dark background later too. And this is when I'll also play with the idea of the second spider web in whether I wanted to keep it or not.
I like that yours has all these like just little details that kind of go into making the picture.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I decided I liked the white spider web in its eye a lot better than a black one.
Ta-da!
Oh yeah,
And
that
there we
turned
go.
out real cool. I like
Yep.
it.
Again, I went further back in and did a lot more shading and such on it, but again, because I took way too long to draw mine, it got a lot of stuff cut. I tried to do the background where it was dark and shady so that the larger tarantula was less noticeable compared to the pumpkin. And then I decided to add some faint, like, spider webbing details in the background that were just kind of chaotic.
I like that a lot, that it's got like the spider web kind of lines in the background. It looks really cool. I just in general really like it. And it's cool too because even though like you wanted your spider to be a little less noticeable, it still kind of is because the pumpkin's still a lot like brighter.
It's a lot more noticeable.
The tarantula is not the first thing that you see when you look at it.
Yeah, it's one of those, hey, look at pumpkin. Oh my god.
Yes. It is definitely, which sounds like what she was going for.
Yes.
It almost looks like the tarantula is trying to get candy from the jack-o'-lantern, but there's no candy in it.
It's because it already ate it all. Don't you see it on the ground?
Those little spiders.
It's because those greedy little spiders took more than one candy.
Look at them. They got like 3 each.
So what we need to do right now is discuss what we're doing for next week. We had already promised Snurds. We had already promised these Nerds Play that we would do a 10-minute challenge for this next week. What I'm thinking, though, is we should still stick with Halloween. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
All right, and then the next thing that I'm going to say is I have a wheel down here that we're going to spin, and it's going to pick our prompt for the 10-minute drawing challenge. All right. So let me explain the choices here. Candy corn. The reason why it's called candy corn is you can draw whatever you want Halloween themed, but you can only use orange, yellow, and white as the colors in your drawing. You cannot use black.
Oh,
that's hard. Ooh, that would be fun.
You can use various shades of orange, yellow, and white, though, so keep that in mind. Design a horror movie character or monster, literally what it says. Bump in the night literally means draw something scary. So you won't be drawing something cute. It's just going to be strictly in the scary department. How would you die if you were in a horror movie is kind of self-explanatory. Just draw yourself how you think you would die in a horror movie or video game. Halloween Hunger Games, I want to save that one for last. I'll explain that in a minute, because that one's my favorite one. Witch is literally just fan art of some type of witch in any genre or any fandom. It's So Cute I'm Gonna Die is kind of self-explanatory. Draw any monster that would normally be terrifying and make it cute. Who's That Pokemon is literally Halloween type Pokemon like Phantom. Monsters Living in Human Society is literally draw, say, like, how would a mummy live in human society? And in my head, I'm thinking a mummy is someone who is a janitor, so he's going to be cleaning bathrooms.
Yep.
See, I'm
replacing roles.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a mummy or a Frankenstein's monster standing in line at a Starbucks.
Yes.
Okay, so Halloween Hunger Games. The reason why I think this one is one of my favorite prompts is you draw any Halloween food thing. So everyone in the first round will have like candy corn or something, right? And then everyone will just randomly anonymously vote on something. And then there will be 3 people in the next challenge. And then 2, and then the last one. Okay, ready?
On your mark, get set. Wheel of Fortune, turn. Tell us the thing that we're gonna learn.
Candy corn. This one's gonna be hard.
Yay!
So, next week, 10-minute challenge, candy corn edition, meaning any colors between orange, yellow, and white. Cannot use black. That does not mean that you can't use a shade of orange gray. Does that make sense?
Brown
no.
is a shade of orange.
Like a really dark orange to try and like outline and whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
any
Brown
shades.
is a shade of orange.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know that some of us more enthusiastic and some of us are very nervous about our art. This is just sitting around and chatting and showing off art that we liked doing. We'll see you later. Bye.
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 Hi, chat. We love you.
Yeah!
Even though we know you're just lurking, we love you.
This is
Well,
where
I
you
think-
just click on the users in chat and go, "These nerds play, we love you." Extra Mango, hey, Extra Mango! Extra Mango,
Hey!
we love you. TasteyTac, we love you. Ninatella, we love you. Harpy Lady 680, we love you. F to Pay R, we love you. Dr. Rampus, I don't know how I feel about you. Academy of Monsters, we love you.
Could be something like, again, Alien Isolation or Predator or Human Centipede. I don't care, just as
Yeah.
long.
What? That's different. One of these things doesn't belong.
If you do Human Centipede, it better be really cute. Good luck with that prompt.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes.